Hi, welcome to my life's journey. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And of course, it's been a while, so I'm really excited and I'm looking forward to sharing the 22 lessons I have learned in the year 2022. Of course, for most of you who've been following, you know that I've been on a journey to deliberately heal from my childhood trauma, and of course just sharing the lessons as I do this. And of course this year I came up with the 22 lessons that I learned in the year 2022, and I'm going to dive right in. All right, so I like doing this journey deliberately and openly because then it can help someone. All right, so let's jump right in. Okay, so the first lesson I learned in the year 2022 is, if you don't learn to say no, you become the price. Okay, if you do not learn to say no, you become the price. Why am I saying that? When you don't learn to say no, because you are a human who has limited resources, so if you do not learn to say no, you become the cost, because you'll always be taking care of another person, always giving your time to someone else, always, you know, giving and giving and giving. So you must learn to say no. Okay, lesson number 2 is, don't fake it until you make it. Okay, life is too heavy, faking it is too heavy. So learn to live your life, learn to acknowledge where you are at, learn to set goals and start working towards the goals, because faking it until you make it kind of makes us think like it's going to sort itself out. Okay, but learn to set your goals, learn to acknowledge where you are at, and learn to know what it is that you need to do to get there. Right, lesson number 3 is, people should not feel confident disrespecting you or taking you for granted. Let me explain. Okay, most times when people take you for granted, it could be because of their own experiences, but when you speak up and you let them know that you know, you feel taken for granted, then they get to learn. And for some people, they don't get to learn. Maybe they'll cut you off, and that's okay. So do not allow people to get used to taking you for granted. All right, so always speak up. Okay, lesson number 4, what you think about yourself is more powerful than what people think about you. Okay, so many times the reason why so many of us are busy, you know, not doing what we need to do, is because we've allowed ourselves to value what people say more than what we believe about ourselves. And you know, for me, I believe that our value comes from God. So better yet, believe what God says about you, because people will always profile you based on your background, based on your finances, based on your, you know, a lot of other things. So it's important that you fix how you think about yourself, and you fix it based on what God thinks about you. All right, and then you start operating from that place. Lesson number 5 is, time moves whether you're ready or not. Okay, I think in the year 2022 I've really, and in this Christmas I'm not going home for the first time in a long time. So, and what hit me is that there are many people who are not present currently as we speak. My grandmother is not there, my favorite cousin is not there, my mother is not there. So it has really hit me that we take a lot for granted. So time moves on whether we're ready or not. That is the other lesson I've learned. Lesson number 6 is, do it afraid. So how many times do we get to a place where we want to wait until we're no longer afraid for us to do something? Let me tell you, I don't think if there'll ever be a time where we will not feel afraid. So learn to do it afraid. There was a time I was asking a coach friend of mine, are you always feeling confident? And she was like, you know what, not always. Sometimes I feel afraid, and that I just do it afraid. So learn to do it afraid. All right, then the other one is, stop stressing over things that are out of your control. So there's so many things that are out of your control, there's so many things that are within your control. Do that which you can do, and stop stressing yourself over that which is outside your control. All right, of course it has been a journey of just getting to write down all these lessons. Lesson number 8 is, be kind to yourself. So many of us it's very easy for us to be kind to other people, but how many times do we just take time to be deliberate and to be deliberately kind to ourselves? For many of us, we really struggle with this. Yeah, so learn to rest, learn to be soft on yourself, learn to be kind to yourself. All right, the other lesson, this is lesson number 9, is, the past is gone, give yourself a chance. Remember, when you're healing, it's a very unique kind of journey, and I'm telling you because this is what I learned. The past is gone. Be soft on yourself, give yourself a chance. Okay, so it's very easy to look back and say, this is the reason why, this is the reason why, and I know that because I've been in that space for so long. So learn to give yourself a chance. The past is gone. Okay, and of course when you learn to give yourself a chance, you're likely to give others a chance as well. Right, lesson number 10 is, it's okay not to have answers. Yeah, you know, as someone who's worked in HR, and people expect you to have answers all the time. As a firstborn, people expect you to have answers all the time. As someone who's always sharing on my social media, people expect you to have answers all the time. Let me just say today, I've learned that it's okay not to have answers, and that's okay. All right. Lesson number 11 is I've learned that you will go through so many versions of you. You know, as someone who's been stuck on why do I feel good on some days, why don't I feel good on some days, I've actually come to realize you'll be so many versions of you, because every day you're changing based on the circumstances, based on the situations, based on the new experiences. You're evolving. So give yourself a chance to evolve. You will have so many versions of you. All right, learn to embrace them all. Right. Lesson number 12: don't allow yourself to be stuck. Take one step towards the right direction. Okay, don't allow people to hold you down based on a version of you they know, based on a comment they make about you. Allow yourself to move forward. Don't allow yourself to be stuck. Okay, stuck is a state of mind which will not allow you to do that which you need to do. Time is moving. Don't allow yourself to be stuck. All right. Lesson number 13: make peace with the negative situations in your life. There's so many things in our African families that we are not able to fix. We are not able to fix our parents' mindset. We are not able to fix some of the issues that happened, before we were born. As someone who really loves therapy, I remember one session, my therapist was telling me, Winnie, I think you have the battles all jumbled up. You're fighting everything. Allow your parents to fight their battles and allow yourself to fight your battle. So what is your battle in there? And that brought so much clarity. Okay, so learn to make peace with the negative situations that are difficult and you're not able to fix. It's okay that you don't have all the answers. That is what we said in point number 10, right? Number 14, I learned to cultivate genuine relationships. How many times do we keep people around us who we've known for so long? They've been there for us. We are just continuing to be loyal to situations. Maybe their season in our lives is done. How many of us do we still keep on those ties? Because somehow we feel we owe them. Somehow they feel they owe us. Live with open hands. That is what my pastor told me. Live with open hands. Allow what is to go, and allow what stays to stay. All right? Learn to cultivate genuine relationships, and this means allowing others to go away when they need to. Okay? It's nothing personal. Okay? Lesson number 15. We're almost there. Let go. Of course, this one just goes hand in hand with lesson number 14. Cultivate genuine relationships. Learn to let go. Whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's people who bring so much unhappiness into your life. There are people who you really try to fix the relationship, but it's not happening. There are people who in your life, when you're celebrating news, they never celebrate with you. Learn to release people. It's okay. Yeah? Learn to let go, right? Anything that is not, it's not, building you up, it's not adding into your life, learn to release it. Learn to let it go. All right? Lesson number 16. Learn your own strengths, including your weaknesses. All right? And it's okay to make peace with them. Yeah? Even as you continue to work on yourself, it's okay to make peace with the fact that there are things that may not come naturally to you, and that's fine. Okay? So learn to make peace with your strengths and your weaknesses. All right? And also learn to know your toxic traits and work towards dealing with them. Okay? Lesson number 17. Don't trust anybody as yet. Okay? Don't trust people yet. Just because you've met them and they are CEO, you've met them and they are the firstborn, you've met them and they are parent. Human beings have all kinds of weaknesses and all kinds of behaviors. So always learn to test people's fruits before you can trust them. Okay? Because we have so many people who go trusting because you just trusted because of the role they told you, or maybe based on what they told you, or because they are a lawyer, or because they are a doctor. Okay? Learn to test the fruits of people, because what they do never defines them. Their character defines them. So learn to get to know people before you can pour out your whole heart to them. All right? Lesson number 18 is speak up. Always speak up. Learn to speak up. I know for so many of us, we come from a background where speaking up is almost like a taboo. All right? So learn to speak up. At the end of the day, the world is changed every day when we speak the truth, when we say things that matter. Okay? So learn to speak up. Learn to speak up in a kind way. Learn to speak up in a way that is helpful. Learn to speak up in a way that will add value to the world. Okay? That is lesson number 18. Lesson number 19. Get over people's approvals. So many times we wait for someone to approve of us, we wait for our parents to approve of us, we wait for our friends to approve of us, we wait for people to feel good about us before we can make a move. Learn to get over people's approval. those who are addicted to people's approvals. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Get over, okay? Get over so that you learn to trust yourself, you learn to trust your judgment. We're almost there. There are 22 lessons. Number 20, learn to slow down, okay? Learn to slow down and smell the coffee, okay? Learn to slow down and enjoy what you've created. So many of us, we're like a hamster, always grinding, always creating, always doing. We've never learned to just slow down and take a moment to just appreciate everything that we've created. You know, it actually hit me in 2022 when I decided to take a break from my full-time employment, early 2022. And I sat down and I just had to recount the things that I've been able to achieve. That is when I realized that actually there were things that are commendable, the things that I was able to do that are commendable. So learn to slow down and take account. Learn to slow down and count your blessings, all right? Lesson number 21. And in fact, before I go into lesson number 21, just to go back into learning to slow down. And sometimes the reason why many of us are in situations that are not so good. I remember there was a certain situation that was not very good, and I spoke to Benjamin Zulu, and Benjamin Zulu was like, Winnie, if you're driving and you get to a foggy place, what do? You slow down. So if you are in a situation where you're not happy about, you're not sure if that relationship is taking you to the next level, you're not sure if that friend is a true friend, learn to slow down, because there are things that we can only see when we slow down, okay? There are things that we can only see when we slow down. So learn to slow down. It will give you the clarity you're looking for. So learn to slow down. Don't just always be on a run, on a rush every day. Learn to slow down, right? So lesson number 21. Learn to throw away entitlement. We live in a society where because she's my big sister, she needs to give me this, because he's my boss, he needs to give me this, because I am an orphan, the world owes me this, because I have suffered in my childhood, this is what I deserve to have. We are in an entitled generation. Learn to notice when you're entitled and to deal with entitlement, because nobody owes you anything, okay? It was such a heartbreaking thing for me to accept, but nobody owes you anything. So learn to appreciate everything that comes to you. And I learned this year, because so many times when familiarity checks in, what happens is we learn to take things for granted. So I learned this year that never ever allow yourself to be entitled. And if you find yourself in a space where you're getting entitled, take a step back and reassess yourself, okay? Lesson number 22, which is my last lesson. My therapist told me this, and I believe it. There's nothing that cannot be fixed by conversation. We are social beings. In fact, I think this year I started calling myself a conversationalist. And the reason for this is because I love having conversations. I love clearing things when we have conversations. I love talking about things that matter. Yeah? There's nothing that cannot be fixed by a conversation. Every time we talk, and I know it requires a certain kind of maturity for people to understand for me to understand what the other party is saying, for the other party to understand what I'm saying, but everything can be fixed by a conversation. So learn to talk, learn to have a conversation, learn to reach out to people and talk to them, because we are social beings. Yeah, animals cannot talk, but we can talk. So learn to talk and have a conversation, because at the end of the day, it will solve a lot of the issues that we have. The reason why you have so many issues is either because people hurt each other when they talk, or maybe they don't talk at all, okay? But if you learn to talk, it will show you if where you are at is the right kind of an environment, because people who care about you will listen to what you have to say, and those who cannot, give them a chance, but still make a judgment. Anyway, I just want to add one extra lesson number 23. This is a bonus lesson that I learned in 2022, and this is always be open, but don't give it more time than it requires. So many of us are always I'm giving it time. Learn to give it time, not more than it needs, okay? Sometimes it's good to just believe what you're being shown again and again and again. People show you who they are. So learn to not give it more time than it requires. Whether it's a relationship, a friendship, don't give it more time than it requires. Because if someone has taken you for granted for the last 2 years, for the last 5 years, what makes you think giving them more time will make them, all of a sudden appreciate that which they're not appreciating to begin with? So learn to not give it more time than it needs, okay? That is all that I wanted to share of all the lessons that I've learned in 2022. So let me get back to my food. It's getting cold. Thank you so much for being with me, and I hope that you have a fruitful festive season, and that your 2023 will be blessed, and that all good things will come to you. Love and blessings.